Move on and stay on the topic of Beijing. China has responded to US President Donald Trump's accusations, defending its decision to invite Russia and North Korea to the World War II commemorations in the Chinese capital. A foreign ministry spokesman said the event was meant to honor history and promote peace and not target any country. This is in response to Trump's post on Truth Social, where he accused China, Russia, and North Korea of, quote, conspiring against the United States after their leaders stood together at a massive military parade. Russia also reacted with Kremlin aide Yuri Ushakov, calling Trump's claim not without irony and hoping it was a joke. Let's listen in to the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman about the issue.
Accuse the leaders of China, Russia, and North Korea of conspiring against the United States. Can you comment on that?
中国发展同任何国家的外交关系，从来不针对第三方。
Andrew, that military parade yesterday, compelling visuals of the Chinese president walking alongside two of the most sanctioned leaders in the world. Of course, Xi Jinping and China have said that this was a show of peace. However, also, of course, showing off their new military equipment and their soon to be a very powerful military that could maybe rival the United States one day. What signal do you think that China was trying to compel here? And what do you say to the critics that say that this was indeed some sort of conspiring against the United States and the West?
I think that what Beijing wants is a peaceful international environment, a reversion to the old rule-based order, and if in fact founded and led by the United States, based on commonly accepted rules, and respecting other countries' sovereignty, and perhaps even in a way lending assistance to some of the poorer nations. But that world order has now been totally upended, and it's the fracturing, and sanctions are imposed left, right, and center, not only against China and Russia, as its Americans perceive existential threat, but on allies and even Americans' largest neighbor up north, Canada, and of course the transatlantic relations countries in Europe, and not least, of course, are the countries in the global south, which are facing huge challenges to their economy, to their livelihood. And what this combination of the three nations is a reaction. They're pushed together rather than pulled together. Let's not forget that Kim Jong-un is not 100% pivoting towards China. As I mentioned earlier, it's pivoting towards Russia and trying to carve out its own path. But on the other hand, North Korea is heavily dependent on China for its economy. And likewise, Russia, dragged down by the Ukraine war, and is relying on China to sustain its economy in terms of energy purchases and agricultural products and so on. So the T3 countries are pushed together, and it appears to be a threat to the United States dominance, as forewarned in a way by the former foreign policy doyen Brzezinski, who was Henry Kissinger's mentor in his seminal book in 1997 called The Grand Chessboard. He did warn that the greatest threat to American dominance would be if Russia, China, and Iran are being working together against the United States. That's what's happening, but these countries are being pushed together rather than joined together out of their own volition.
Andrew K.P. Leung, always a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for taking the time. We now move over to the Indian subcontinent, where New Delhi